It's Morning Edition on 90.1 WFYI. I'm Ray Steele. A new exhibit at the Eiteljorg Museum features the work of a legendary photographer. Her work promoted social justice long before that term was in popular use. You hear it all the time now. Dorothea Lange documented the realities of people suffering from hunger, economic depression, and migration in the 1930s in the United States. Now, this exhibition also features other notable photographers, including those from our era, and one of them is with me today, Wildstyle Paschall from right here in Indianapolis. Wildstyle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you've done so many things. We could call you a photographer, but you've got many titles next to your name. You're involved in the music industry, production management, roller skater extraordinaire. What got you into photography? What interested you?
Photography, I got into that via the hip-hop management. Years ago when I was just starting to get better at managing the artists, I was able to start getting them shows. We needed people to document the shows and get pictures. And, what I was hoping that would be, worthy of promoting their next show and their music. And I wasn't quite getting what I needed as a manager out of those pictures. And I said, you know what, I'll just do it myself. And, I borrowed a camera from one of my mentors who had a really nice, I think it was a Nikon. Don't get me the line here. I can't remember which model it was, but it was.
I'm not going to know anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's okay.
It was a 2009 Nikon, and he didn't really use it, so I borrowed it for a month and realized that doing photography at hip hop shows was complicated, but I really enjoyed it, and I kept practicing and practicing. And eventually I was starting to get, some of the pictures that I thought were going to be helpful to promote, my artists. After that, I just ended up, your artist goes up and you're already there. So I'm taking pictures to warm up and, I'm posting all of the pictures, and pretty soon I'm doing the whole hip hop shows, and I'm sometimes coming out to events that my artists aren't even on. And it kind of, snowballed into a lot of community photography and, just capturing culture in Indianapolis from there, because I ended up just loving it.
This exhibition deals with social justice. Do you remember the first time you used your photography in a setting like that, whether it was at a protest or something?
Yes, this was early on in 2015. There was a demonstration at the Indiana State House about, who knows, I can't even remember what they were trying there that year.
All runs together?
It all runs together. It's quite a common theme, it seems like. And I remember taking my camera out and for the January York was given a poem, and she's now the library's Black Literature and Culture's poet laureate. But she was given the poem. Dominic Dorsey was giving a speech. Dr. Hampton was giving the speech out there, and I didn't really know any of them that well, but I remember somehow knowing to come out there and capturing a lot of pictures for that. And that was probably my first social justice related thing.
I know a lot of people, myself included, who really became familiar with your photography during what was going on in 2020 with the protests downtown. When you take a picture in that setting, I mean, obviously you're not thinking, hey, this is going to be part of a museum exhibit maybe in the future. But what are you looking for when you look through that lens?
So particularly the pictures that are the picture that's in the Eiteljorg exhibit, this is actually the mass protest downtown, but it's like 2 or 3 weeks before George Floyd's murder in Minnesota. This was over Drayshawn Reed, and my sole purpose was really to show the rest of Indianapolis and all of the power structure at the time that people are upset about this, and that they are willing to go out there and protest. And that was the main thing, just capturing the moment. I will admit that sometimes I'm suspicious of the mainstream media, local media here, that sometimes they don't always cover the narratives as I see them. And so I wanted to make sure, well, I'm out there, I've got my camera. I wanted to let everybody know the size of the crowd. It was a peaceful protest, and that people were adamant about change in the city.
What is it like having your photographs in an exhibit with Dorothea Lange taking some of the most famous pictures ever taken?
It's exciting. Now, in a moment, I never conceived of any of this. When I took the pictures, I had no idea if anybody was even going to care if I posted them. So seeing that, it makes me feel good, because I'd imagine that she might have felt the same way about, especially with her style of photography, that you don't know whether anybody's going to actually care about that. You're hoping they do, because you're pouring, you're carrying and your vision to try to show people why they should, but you don't know. And that was, this is I'm honored to be invited, to be a part of this, and that people feel that that we have similar, styles, or at least similar motives for photography.
You're also giving a talk at the museum April 13th. What do you hope people will take away from the message you send, whether they're looking at your photographs or maybe at that talk, what you have to say to them?
I think it's probably depends on who you are in the audience. If it's other photographers, I want other photographers to definitely understand the impact of their photos, for good or bad. I've seen some photography that was great technically. Amazing photography, but what it leads people to believe and what it leads people to do was bad. And I can think of one example of that is, and I can't remember the photographer's name, but it was a photographer during the Vietnam War who took a picture of, I think, an execution of someone, and it basically that was what helped snowball America's entry into the Vietnam War, and he regretted that the rest of his life. And I think I want people to understand, like, what the content that they produce, that they have that type of power, and that you have to be very careful. I know during the protests in 2020, there were sometimes pictures that I just didn't put up because it was not. I didn't think it inspired people to be great, and so I'm not a journalistic outlet per se, so that's my artistic choice to not put out certain things. But I think photographers have to be mindful of that, and I think we all have to be mindful about, whether we're a photographer or not, what type of content we're putting out into the world.
The still photograph still has power. We live in such a video-centric world. I used to work in TV where it was all about, hey, did you get video of this? Do we have video? And can we show this? Do you have vertical video that you can post to TikTok? But the still photograph still carries a lot of weight to it.
Yes, and that's always surprising to me. I think I can take videos of an event, and I've done video work for people, but I've got even out of videos, I get the best results by interspersing my still photography in there, in those videos, and sometimes just the pictures of an event will get more traction on social media than a very well produced video of the same event.
Wildstyle Paschall, it's been a pleasure. Let's talk about something else besides photography, something maybe more lighthearted next time. I appreciate you coming over, though. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
You can see the work of Wildstyle Paschall as part of the Dorothea Lange exhibit Changing Views. It's at the Eiteljorg Museum March 4th through August 6th. More info at eiteljorg.org.